But I don't agree with them going to different places and telling certain immigrants or people from other countries to leave and get out. I mean, did you create this land? Did you create this world? Because if you did, I guess I'm missing something. Isn't this world created by God in heaven? I mean, and who are you to say that this person has to leave because they're an immigrant? It doesn't make sense to me, right? And then my Ghanaian brother, your country is already being fixed. Why would she even say that? Like,
I am a Ghanaian, and I grew up watching Serafina. When we went to school, we were reading like Susie Banzi is dead. So I do understand this oppression system. I mean, the apartheid system. But like, as a black person coming to South Africa to make ends living, like, I'm coming to work. I'm not stealing. I'm not trying to harm anybody. I'm just doing my own business, right? And you come on the street to attack me just because I want to make a living. So, okay, let's use the same logic.
That is the headquarters. That is where they were. Nigeria was giving them money. Nigeria had to donate a lot of money. They even introduced what is called the Mandela tax. You can Google Mandela tax.
You don't know.
When you come to Ghana, like, universities literally became the hotbed for these people. That is where things like African Youth Command even came under the Kutu Champon era, where students were joining secondary school, university schools and everything. They were marching up and down, protesting against this apartheid in South Africa, to the extent that they even boycotted Barclays Bank in Ghana because of their tie to South Africa. Members who were part of the ANC and were sent on exile, they came to Ghana, they were given passports. In 1960, Miriam Makeba, she was given a passport by Kwame Nkrumah when the apartheid government in South Africa.
A black American lady came out to condemn the act of South Africans telling immigrants to leave their country. According to her, she finds it so surprising that why would someone tell their fellow African brother to leave their country? Or why would someone even tell people to leave a particular country? According to her, she said, are they the owner of the land? Do they create the world? Are they the owner of the world? Why would they tell their fellow African brother or sister to leave the land? And she went further to say to the Ghanaian brother that Ghana is already fixed, that why is he even going to South Africa? And guys, I'm going to be sharing a few videos with you all to watch, and also some Ghanaians talking about how they grew up, reading Ghanaian books like Sis Webanzi is dead. I even read it in secondary school. I read Sis Webanzi is dead. My mother has gone mad against us. Stories like that from a South African author. We read everything about that in Nigeria. We learned about South African culture. It's meaning that we are one Africa. But you coming out to tell people to leave your country, it calls for concern. Even right now, those that are living legally in South Africa, South Africans are attacking them. Those that have their proper documentation, South Africans, they're attacking them. Pregnant women, you cannot give birth in the hospital in South Africa as long as you're not a South African. Zimbabweans, they're attacking them. Kenyans, they're attacking them. Ghanaians, Nigerians. So what is the problem with South Africans? What do you guys really want? And most of those people, they have their documents. So why attacking them? Why restricting them from using the hospital? But let's watch this video. I don't think this thing the South Africans are doing can never happen in Nigeria. It can never happen in Kenya or in Ghana. There are South Africans in Ghana, there are South Africans in Nigeria, and they're making use of the hospital freely. They have health insurance which covers most of their bills. They are using it freely. Nobody's coming to tell them, don't go to our hospital because you're South African. Don't come to our hospital because we are paying our taxes. Nobody has done that to them. So why should you see your fellow African brother in your country and you decide to tell them to go back to their country? Meanwhile, they've not committed any crime. They've not done anything bad. They are just there to find, to make money. Same way South Africans are in Ghana and in Nigeria making money too. They have companies there and they employ their fellow South Africans working here in this country. Nobody has gone to tell them, you're taking our jobs, you're taking our money, you're taking our resources. Nobody has done that to them. Guys, watch this video.
I am a Ghanaian, and I grew up watching Serafina. When we went to school, we were reading like Susie Banzi is dead. So I do understand this oppression system. I mean, the apartheid system. But like, as a black person coming to South Africa to make ends living, like, I'm coming to work. I'm not stealing. I'm not trying to harm anybody. I'm just doing my own business, right? And you come on the street to attack me just because I want to make a living. So, okay. Let's use the same logic. Are you trying to tell me we should boycott MTN? Are you trying to tell me we should boycott Stanbic Bank, like ShopRite? What else? DSTV in Ghana or in other African countries? What is wrong with some of you guys? Some South Africans. What is going on with you? What's the end game here?
Hey you guys, it's Ajwa Sugar here with another video, and I wanted to tell you guys about this video that I just watched. Heard loud and clear, go fix your country. We don't need you here. A heated confrontation between a South African activist and a Ghanaian immigrant is shaking the internet. Okay. Listen, I've been to South Africa before, and that was back in 2016. I went to Cape Town. And I thought it was a beautiful place. The people were beautiful and nice to me and everything. I really had a wonderful, wonderful experience. I remember my sister, Ella, I love her to death. And so many other people that I really, really, really appreciate who actually were wonderful people in South Africa. This situation that's going on is pretty sad. Africa should connect as a whole, right? So it shouldn't be people going against other Africans or other immigrants telling them to get out of their country. Granted, the situations that happen with South Africa and how South Africans, naturally born, bred South Africans that have ancestral to their territory, they should have a percentage of their land and stuff. There shouldn't be a whole bunch of whites that own the land. I agree with that. But I don't agree with them going to different places and telling certain immigrants or people from other countries to leave and get out. I mean, did you create this land? Did you create this world? Because if you did, I guess I'm missing something. Isn't this world created by God in heaven? I mean, and who are you to say that this person has to leave because they're an immigrant? It doesn't make sense to me, right? And then my Ghanaian brother, your country is already being fixed. Why would you even say that? Like, go back to your country and fix your country. Listen, Ghana people are the most peaceful and loving people. So for you to go attack or go to him and tell him this, you're really doing a disservice. Because had you go to his country and decide to live and have to stay, they'll treat you as if you are a regular, wonderful person too. As long as you're not doing no sideways stuff. As long as there's nobody doing any sideways stuff in your country, causing wars or drama or crazy stuff, I get it. But if people are peacefully living, they're emerging your culture, they're married to South Africans, they have made a life there, they have built, leave them alone. If anything you can do is, why can't you spread a little love? Why can't you encourage people? Why do you have to be evil and have people leave out of hospitals, leave out of places? That is wrong. And you are putting wrongness on yourself and on your future generation when you do this. I don't know what is operating or what is operating in you that's causing you to do that, because that's hate. It's not good. And it's not a good look. Now, South Africa, I love the movies. I love the touring, the things of that sort, but this is not a good look for South Africa, and it should change. You know what I mean? Fight for the things that you really need to fight for, like fighting for land for your people, like fighting for equality. What happened to Nelson Mandela? Would Nelson Mandela do this to this Ghanaian man? Would Nelson Mandela make people come out of their hospital rooms and stuff? I think not. Maybe you need to go back to the trajectory and really pray about what you're doing. Because it doesn't look cute and it doesn't look nice. And if anything, you're blocking people from coming further to South Africa, wanting to pour into, wanting to be. What about those of us who are African, who have African descent from there? Are you going to say the same thing to them because they're from America or Europe or Italy or any other place? Or what if it's a person that's from Ghana decides to come there and they have heritage from South Africa, from those tribes? Are you going to say something again about them too? I'm sorry, this is wrong. Wrong on all levels, and I'm going to speak about it because it's wrong. So, sweetheart, please, you need to do some prayer, some deep searching, and maybe ask God to reveal to you different things that you're doing is wrong. And the things that are right to do that. It's Ajo Sugar. I just had to put my 2 cents in. Thank you.
In South Africa, at least in the Gold Coast, there has never been enough white men there to constitute a nationhood. Yeah. If the Gold Coasters at any time wanted to drive him out, and they drove him out, those white men have got England for their homeland. We in South Africa,
the only thing I know is, according to the partition of Africa and the scramble for Africa in 1884, all the white men came to Africa and they settled at the places which suit them best, according to her. If you go to South Africa, the climate is Mediterranean in certain places, so you see white men there. If you go to East Africa, it is tropical, but because of the highlands, it's relatively cooler, and so you see white men there. That's why you get the mama in East Africa. In the Gold Coast, it is jungle, mosquitoes and everything, and so the white men don't like to live in the Gold Coast. That's natural.
And Mimi, and excuse me, Navy, and Dix, I want to ask you this. Dix just said that there weren't enough white men in the Gold Coast. Would your point of view be that believing in separateness, you've kept yourself so separated from the white men in the Gold Coast that maybe your standard of living has...
No, ma'am. We were just keeping, side by side with them.
I specifically play this video for people who sometimes make loose talks, like, Ghana should have left the country for white people or the British people to develop the country like South Africa. And when I listen to some of these talks, you just know that those people don't know their history. Because if you know what it took South Africa to get the independence that they have today, after 1948, what they went through, the struggle that we were going through, to the extent that it took the whole of Africa to stand behind South Africa before they could gain their independence. Zambia literally became the home for this ANC people. That is the headquarters. That is where they were. Nigeria was giving them money. Nigeria had to donate a lot of money. They even introduced what is called the Mandela tax. You can Google Mandela tax.
You don't know.
This is where money or portion of the income of civil servants were taken to support South Africa. Students had to give a portion of their money, their lunch money, to support the struggle. When you come to Ghana, like, universities literally became the hotbed for these people. That's where things like African Youth Command even came under the Kutu Champon era, where students were joining secondary school, university schools and everything. They were marching up and down, protesting against this apartheid in South Africa, to the extent that they even boycotted Barclays Bank in Ghana because of their tie to South Africa. Members who were part of the ANC and were sent on exile, they came to Ghana, they were given passports. In 1960, Miriam Makeba, she was given a passport by Kwame Nkrumah when the apartheid governments in South Africa revoked their own because of the testimony she gave at the UN against them. Why do you think a movie like Sarafina became very popular in Africa? Everybody was relating to the situation.
Guys, from the history you've just seen on this particular video, you would know that a lot of Africans contributed to, South African freedom during the apartheid. And a lot of them are also making sure that South Africans were okay. They came down to Ghana, they got the Ghana passport. Nigerians contributed massively. In fact, they borrowed them money, gave them money. Students were contributing, they are feeding money, they were giving it out to make sure that South Africans gained their freedom. That was when Africans have one mind. That was the period Africans came together for once to have one mind. But this time around, these present generations, the youth of these generations, all they know about is, we don't want Africans, we don't want you here, we don't want Nigerians in our country, we don't want Ghanaians in our country, we don't want Zimbabweans in our country, we don't want Kenyans in our country. For how long is this going to continue? So for those that are fighting for Pan-Africanism, how is this going to be achievable? How do you intend to achieve one Africa? How do you intend to achieve one currency, one bank, one everything with this kind of character that is being displayed on the internet? South Africans beating up their fellow South African brothers, South Africans beating up their fellow African brothers in their country, chasing them away. You go to South Africa right now, you hear, go back to your country. Like, some people will just randomly walk up to you and tell you, when are you going back to your country? Like, they'll tell you to your faces, when are you going back to their country? To the fact that they will even restrict you from using their medical hospital when you have some medical conditions. Pregnant women, they did not even have the heart to allow them give birth. Most of them have, given up the ghost because they were not allowed to give birth in a South African hospital. This is so bad. This is so bad. There are people that are suffering from cancer. These people do not allow them to make use of the hospital. When they see them in that hospital, they walk into the hospital and tell them to leave. They will ask for their documents. When they find out that, oh, you're a Ghanaian, you're a Nigeria, you're a Zimbabwe, they will ask you to leave without getting your medical help or getting any medical attention. This is so bad. In this present time, people are still acting this way. In this present time, people are still being xenophobic to their fellow African brothers. It is justifiable when that particular African brother has done a crime. I wouldn't talk about it. But once they have not done anything, they've not harmed you, they've not stolen your property, they've not taken anything that belongs to you, they've not intruded in your privacy, they've not done any bad thing to you. So why should you send them out of the country? Why should you tell them to go? I think South Africans, you guys forget so easily. You forget so easily how Africans helped you. Now, this is what you are paying them back with. You are paying them back with hatred, being xenophobic. This is bad.